Morning, everyone. Welcome to the Transportation, Infrastructure, and Innovation Subcommittee. Calling the meeting to order. Do we have anybody for the public? Okay. Then we will go to the minutes of the meeting. I have a motion or correction for February 5th meeting.
I move to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. I'll bet we have a vice mayor calling in, and we have Councilwoman Pastor on the phone. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, okay. We are to the consent items, 2 through 5. Does anyone have any questions, discussion, or a motion?
I will move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Last chance. Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Which brings us to next items are for information. It's for the CTC commission meetings and for the freeway program update. Does anyone have any questions?
No.
All right, then let's go to item 9, Bus Operations Control Center.
Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, item 9 is the contract recommendation for the Operations Control Center for public transit. Public Transit Director Jesus Sapien is here on this item.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Thank you for having us here today. You may recall last year we came to you and full council for permission to issue an RFP for our Operations Control Center. And just a reminder, what the Operations Control Center, or OCC as we call it, is, it's housed in the public transit building, and I refer to it as the control tower of transit. Just like you have a control tower at aviation that can, kind of oversees all the vehicles in motion. This is a similar setup that we have for all of Phoenix's bus service. And so since receiving your approval last year to issue the RFP, we have developed it, issued it, evaluated the proposals that we received. And with that, I'll turn it over to Deputy Public Transit Director Albert Crespo to give you an overview of kind of what the OCC does and the results of the evaluation.
Good.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the subcommittee. Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the subcommittee. So last April 2019, we received City Council approval to release the Bus Operations Control Center and Data Collection Services contract. So today, as Jesus mentioned, I'll provide you with an update on the results of that process. So before we actually get into the results of the RFP, I did want to refresh your memory as to some of the components of the Operations Control Center, some of the major functions they perform. So as Jesus mentioned, they act as the communications hub for bus operations. They operate on a 24/7 basis and are staffed accordingly. They provide oversight over the vehicles that are in service for us, operating out of the Phoenix garages, the North, South, and West transit facilities. The OCC provides oversight over these vehicles by providing direction and guidance to our bus operators in the field as they respond to detours, accidents, and any types of incidents on and around the bus. The OCC also acts as the primary contact for police and fire. So again, if a bus operator encounters any type of critical issue that requires an emergency response, they contact the OCC. The OCC notifies 911, and they provide the appropriate resources to ensure a timely response of emergency services to the bus, any passenger or bus operator. So what's interesting about the OCC is the volume of communications that they respond to on a monthly basis. So they respond to over 3,000 phone calls from bus operators, maintenance, and dispatch at the yards, as well as police and fire. They also use our CAT-AVL system, the bus communication system, and they respond to over 65,000 text messages and radio calls. So it's a very large amount of communications that occurs on a 24/7 basis. The OCC also provides real-time notification of incidents. So as they're responding to these incidents, they're letting critical stakeholders know of what's occurring in the transit environment. That could be the city, it could be other contractors, it could also be other transit stakeholders, Valley Metro, for instance. The OCC also uses our CAT-AVL system, bus communication system, to compile information for us so that we can basically grade transit performance, information such as on-time performance reporting, missed service, those types of critical reports. And then lastly, they provide some regional functions for us, which also includes the reporting for farebox collection system, as well as they are the subject matter experts on the CAT-AVL, our bus communication system, and they train not just contractor staff, but also city staff and also some of our regional providers on that system. So now getting to the actual RFP. So we released the request for proposals in August of last year. We received proposals from 3 qualified firms in September. Those firms included Transdev Services, First Transit, and RATP Development. During the latter half of last year, we engaged in the evaluation process whereby we selected subject matter experts from internal City of Phoenix Transit Department staff, as well as transit staff from our regional stakeholders, and they performed their evaluations and they made their award recommendation. So that leads us here today so that we can provide that information to you. I did want to mention that the current contract does end June 30th, and the new contract would be starting July 1st of this year. So relative to the proposals, they were evaluated by the subject matter experts, our panel, based on 4 specific criteria. There was 1,000 points possible in the scoring. The first criteria was qualifications, experience, and past performance. The next criteria was proposed organizational structure. And then lastly, the understanding of the scope of work and transition plan. So basically all of the technical elements that can provide us information, can they perform the work? Are they staffed accordingly to perform that work given the high level of communications they're responsible for, and can they be successful at that? The last item, of course, and very importantly, is the cost of the contract. So of course we were looking for the lowest responsible bid. So that leads us to the actual evaluation, why we're here today. The panel of subject matter experts, after reviewing the proposals, recommended Transdev Services Incorporated. They received a total score of 940 points out of 1,000 points possible. Some of the key parts of their proposal, they received the highest overall score based on the evaluation criteria. So on the technical components, they received a very high score. And then relative to the cost, they were the lowest responsible bid. They were actually 1.4 million less than the next lowest bid. For a total of, the total contract value proposed cost is almost 14.4 million for the 5-year base contract, as well as the 2-year option. Should the city, if it's in the city's best interest to do so, we would do the 2-year extension. Madam Chair, correct. They are the incumbent contractor. Some of the benefits of this proposal that I did want to highlight were Transdev met or exceeded all of the technical requirements that were listed in the request for proposal, so they met those requirements. The cost, an additional interesting point was they proposed additional controllers to enhance service oversight, so that was very important to us. In their technical proposal, they highlighted how they could be more proactive, having a higher controller to bus ratio so that they could respond more timely to incidents in the field, to enhance not just operator safety and security, but also safety and security for our passengers. Relative to previous concurrence on this item, the Citizens Transit Commission did approve recommending this item to TI&I unanimously last week, 11-0. And that leads me to our request today. We would like to request the Transportation, Infrastructure, and Innovation Subcommittee recommend City Council approval to enter into an agreement with Transdev Services for the Bus Operations Control Center and Data Collection Services. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Does anyone have questions? Anyone on the phone have a question?
No.
Okay.
No.
In that case, how many passengers do we have a month? I'm putting you on the spot here, sorry.
So, Madam Chair, on an annual basis, City of Phoenix by itself is between 30 and 40 million passenger boardings. We're approximately 67% of the regional boarding. So if you look, for example, at the Valley Metro service map, we're 2/3 of that. So not only are people, the majority of people passing through Phoenix, but they're making connections within Phoenix, whether that be on buses or connections between bus and light rail and other modes. So this contract certainly oversees the bulk of the regional passenger boardings. On a regional perspective, it's on an annual basis, the last couple of years, 40, 50, 60 million, it varies, but, we're overseeing the majority of it here in Phoenix.
And do they bid on the mile?
For this particular contract, no. Our operation contracts operate that way.
Package deal.
In terms of this particular contract, Madam Chair, it's basically manpower in the OCC.
Do I have a motion?
I will move to approve per staff's recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I don't hear anything.
Aye.
Okay. I think it passed unanimously. Nay, if you don't agree? Okay, passed unanimously. Kind of tricky on the phone. Takes us to, you get to stay right there, don't you?
We get to stay right here, yes, Madam Chair. Thank you. Thank
I
you for
am-
the attention today.
I am so delighted to have this on the agenda. We've been talking about this for, what, 5, 6 years? That we
Madam Chair,
needed a
members of the
better
subcommittee,
system?
yes, this is certainly, I call it a contract of regional significance. As you know, our current system has been in place since 2005, but we did have a significant amount of work that started before that to develop it and put all the equipment on buses. So our current system, having reached the end of its useful life because of its age, but more importantly because of advances of technology. You may recall during Prop 104/T2050 outreach in 2015, one of the things we heard from passengers at the top of the list was, give us new innovative ways to pay for fares, both on bus and in rail, and that's what we're here to talk to you about today. This has been, as Madam Chair correctly notes, a years-long process to not only develop it, but evaluate what's out there. So Deputy Director Joe Bauer will be walking you through what we're getting with this new system and the overall procurement itself.
Good.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the subcommittee. As Jesus indicated, this is a significant regional project. We're here today to ask you for your recommendation to full City Council for approval of a contract with VIX Technologies, which is the recommended awardee for this Fare Collection Systems Improvement Project. So our current system, just as a refresher, so our whole fare structure is regional in nature. Any decisions related to fare policy are City Council and Valley Metro Board approved, so it's a regional decision and implemented across the whole region. So the current fare collection system, that project began in 2005, so it's 13 years old now. The equipment at that time was state-of-the-art, but it was proprietary, the equipment and the software, which creates problems for us because everything, to add features, make changes, everything, you're really obligated to one source for that. And if the system doesn't have much flexibility, that makes it even harder. And thus, at 13 years old, we feel it's exceeded its useful life, so we ventured on this project. And as you noted, it's been a long process. We had a lot of regional workshops to get input on what we wanted a new fare collection system to look like, the features we wanted. And of course, at T2050, it was a promise we made to the voters to have that component of a new fare collection, in particular, as you'll see, a mobile application and reloadable smart cards. So the new system will have mobile ticketing, which will be via a smartphone app that you download to your phone. It'll give you the choice to purchase fare. We're also going to have reloadable smart cards, which give the user the capability to add value, to load it and reuse it, of course. We don't want people just scanning them and throwing them away. But one of the key features is what's called fare capping. And this is a pay-as-you-go type feature, meaning right now you can buy a 30-day pass in our system, whether it's bus or light rail. Fare capping allows you to build toward that cap as you ride. So if you're riding, every time you ride, that builds toward that cap. So right now you have to buy the 30-day pass up front. And so this feature really opens up our system for everybody to have the benefit, whether you're unbanked or you're a cash-only person. You can use that system to your benefit if you create an account and choose to use that. Everything, we're going to have web-based account management. and fair purchase, so it'll be a third-party operated website that you can go in. If you create an account, you can manage that account, whether it's on your smartphone or the mobile app, or excuse me, the reloadable smart card. So part of the capital expense of the project, all buses and light rail platforms will get validators, which are simply where you would tap your card or have your app barcode scanned when you get on. We'll also be replacing all the ticket vending machines in the light rail network to state-of-the-art ticket vending machines. And I will stress that all the features, web, validator, whatever, will all be ADA compliant. So this project is going to be launched and implemented in 2 phases. Phase 1 will be the implementation, the design and creation of the mobile app. And then with that mobile app, when it gets to a stage to be a pilot, we have to have all the validators on the buses and at the light rail platform, so it obviously can work together. The nice thing about all the features is it's customer oriented, that you take control of your own account. So if you choose to create an account, then you can manage it. You can lost card, you can go in and cancel the card, stop the card. Mobile app, you can have auto load of fares every month, 50 bucks goes on, or whatever you choose. So it's customer friendly. The validators, again, buses and the light rail system. Phase 2, we're going to have the reloadable smart card, which will be coupled with the installation of ticket vending machines. And the reloadable smart card, we will have a network of retail outlets, just like you see today in any store with all the cards, gift cards, reloadable cards. You know, the regional Valley Metro card will be on that rack. You can take it and choose to add value once, or you can add value and create an account so you can manage it. So the reloadable smart card and ticket vending machines, you know, it'll be designed for people. If you're a cash-only unbanked person, you can go and give them $10 and they'll load it to your card for you. So the cash users are accommodated. It'll be validated on bus and light rail, and again, the ticket vending machines. And, you know, again, we're very sensitive to impacts to the unbanked or people that live paycheck to paycheck. So this system will be very flexible for them. So the contract that we're discussing today has a base contract, the capital end of it, which would be validators, TVM, the design of the mobile app, and the reloadable smart card, will be about $33 million. It's got federal FTA money of 80%, and then the remaining match will be Proposition 400 funded. So again, this is our partnership, Valley Metro, City of Phoenix, and the FTA. There will be 3 years to start to finish to get this launched and implemented, and then there's a 1-year warranty period after the system is accepted by the city. So then the longer term is the operation and maintenance support. We're looking at about $28 million. Again, majority will be Proposition 400, and local cities will all be part of the local share for that. There is no federal funding in that aspect. It'll be a 9-year initial agreement for operations and maintenance support, including equipment and software. And then we have an option for 2 3-year extensions. So this request for proposals, you know, we had 3 sections to the request. We had qualifications of the firm, we had the technical solution and approach, and then cost. So we had 6 proposals submitted. After 6 proposals were evaluated, the evaluation panel showed a competitive range for 2. So those 2 moved to a best and final offer stage. We had demonstrations and interviews, and then ultimately the panel had recommended that the award go to VIX Technology. And as you can see on that graphic, VIX Technology had the highest overall score, the technical plus price. Their price was more, but if you note in that same slide that the cost was only weighted 20% because this is a very technical project in nature, and low bid is not necessarily always the best thing. The total of the contract with options we selected will be approximately $61 million. That includes the mobile app with a very robust trip planner that we wanted added. There, oh, excuse me.
Could you just describe what the trip planner will do?
So the trip planner will allow you to, you can pick your destination or your origin destination. It'll give you routing options to get there. Whether, you will want to link to maybe a Uber or Lyft to get there or afterwards. But it really gives you real-time data also, so you'll know when your bus or the train is going to arrive. So it's much more user-friendly, and we're obviously there's a lot of apps out there, third-party apps that can help you, but we want it to be very robust. And honestly, during the workshops, our philosophy became we want to create a mobile app that works. We want it to, the first day, we want it to, from the first day it needs to work and work well, because otherwise people are going to get turned off and then you're not going to see them using it. Another option we added was more security features at the TVMs. In particular, one option was a security camera right built into the TVM, so any issues that occur while you're purchasing or anything that's all security camera and DVR recorded, so it can be evaluated.
Will that go back to the control center so they can watch it periodically? I mean,
The
I
light
see-
rail, yes.
Okay.
Yes, they'll have their operation, they have their rail side operations control center, just like we have the bus
Right.
side.
Okay.
And then we added some features for cash payments. We really want to be able to get the cash-only people and paycheck-to-paycheck people to be able to use the new features. So this project started back in 18, where we developed the technical specifications for it. The procurement was issued in January of 19. In December of 19, it was the notice to award was out. We went to our Citizens Transportation Commission last week. They approved it unanimously, and we're here today for your action on this item. The phases, Phase 1 would be launched in approximately January of 22 for the mobile application and validators. Seems like a long time, but there's a lot of moving parts and things to do. And then a year later, the reloadable smart card and TVMs would be functional and launched. So as I mentioned, our Citizens Transportation Commission approved this last Thursday evening with a 12-0 vote. And today we're asking for your recommendation to the City Council that we enter into an agreement with VIX Technology for implementation of our long-term hosting and maintenance of the new regional fare collection system. And with that, we'll take questions.
Anyone have questions?
Just a comment. I'm really excited to see this, and I think it'll really enhance our customer service. So thank you for researching and getting the right company for us.
Vice Mayor, Councilwoman, any questions?
No question, no.
Okay. By chance, do I have a motion to approve staff's recommendation?
So moved.
I have a
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay. Passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
This is pretty exciting.
Yeah, it is. I think they proceeded just getting me to shut up.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, item 11 is on the agenda today because of a discussion at the last subcommittee
Right.
meeting about procurement methods, and we have our Chief Financial Officer Denise Olson here, along with Deputy Procurement Officer T.J. Martin and Julie Cree from the City Attorney's Office to talk about and give an overview on procurement methods and allow the subcommittee to have some further discussion. So I'll turn it over to Denise.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee. Again, we're very excited. Want to introduce TJ Martin. She's our new Chief Procurement Officer, so we're excited to have her on board. So today we want to just go over procurement strategies and methods, and I just want to start off with giving you background information on procurement. There's been a lot of changes since 2015. So we basically had the council approve a procurement code, which is also known as Chapter 43. We also implemented our infamous Procure Phoenix system. We started a process citywide with developing a procurement plan, and what we do is every single year we ask everybody, every department, what are your procurement needs going to be over the next 2 years? And we did that for 2 years to kind of coincide with the budget process. So we ask everybody, think of everything that can be procured, and then we try to figure out from there resources versus the procurements that we need to get done. And then last, we've done a lot of improvements with our vendor registration system. So we're trying to make this a better process for the vending community. So we've made a lot of improvements there, and we're really encouraging vendors to register with us so we know what our market looks like. This just shows you some of the results of those efforts in registering those vendors. This is the number of vendors that have registered over the last 6 years. So we're making a lot of outreach and efforts there. The other thing is with our e-procurement system, one thing that we're able to do now is put all of the contracts in one place. So right now, because of our system, we know that we have about 2,350 contracts active right now in the city. So there's a lot of good data that we're able to pull from our system. And then last, we have just better controls now. Since 2015, we're able to analyze pricing. We're making sure that goods and services are shipped to the right place. People are complying with our payment ordinance, and we're also making strides in contract management efforts. And last, there's also a three-way match, which is an accounting function that controls that we like to see happen, where we have a match between what we order, what we pay, and what we receive. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to TJ and let her tell you about our procurement methods.
Madam Chair, members of the council, it's a pleasure to be here this morning, and thank you for the opportunity to talk to you about methods of procurement. A best practice, of course, in procuring any goods or services is to start with competition. And so that's what we do. And the methods of competition include the informal process, cooperatives, the formal process, which includes requests for quotes, invitations for bids, requests for proposals, and then requests for qualifications. In very limited circumstances, we will pursue a non-competitive procurement. And usually that's in emergency situations or where there is a sole source or proprietary product where there is only one maker or one supplier of the good or service needed. In very limited situations where competition is impractical, then again, we may implement or pursue options without competition, but those are fewer than the opportunity to compete. Next, when considering how we purchase, we also consider the price. That's one of the important things. And so we've got a low dollar threshold of $8,600 where procurement officers are able to procure those goods under that amount. And of course, anything over the payment authorization. I'm learning the language, I'm sorry. The payment authorization over $8,600 must come back before the council for your approval. So we usually use the informal process for anything less than $100,000 and formal competition where it exceeds that $100,000 threshold. Again, all of those things above the small dollar amount come back before the council for approval. Yes, ma'am.
Would that be off of registered vendors? So you already have some idea what their prices are?
So if I understand your question, you're talking about the ones that are less than
That you don't go out for competition.
the informal competitions?
Yes.
So yeah, so what we do on the informal competitions, and we'll get into this a little bit more, but remember we also have our small business and local business space.
Right.
And so TJ will get into that a little bit about how we try to encourage them in this space before we move on to our general population.
Perfect timing for that question. So in the informal process, we utilize a request for quote. And so this is where we reach out to 3 vendors to obtain their quotes to provide that information. And we start, of course, with our small business enterprise in this program for informal. And so we ask those who have registered using our Procure Phoenix process if they're interested, if they provide that particular service, and we give them an opportunity to bid or submit quotes on those small procurements under $100,000 first and foremost. We currently have 85 contracts with SBEs, or small business enterprises, but we are working on outreach, and that'll be a priority for me as Chief Procurement Officer, to reach out to SBEs and talk to them about educate them on opportunities and make us more available in just discussing the opportunities on contracting with the city. The next thing under the competitive process would be invitations for bid. We reach out again and notify vendors that there is an opportunity, and this can be anything over $100,000. It may be more or less, utilizing the invitation for bid. In this particular procurement method, the only thing that matters here usually is price. Price drives the determination on an invitation for bid, and we use this primarily for vehicle, car washes, and maintenance repair, things where only the price is of concern. I'm sorry.
Can I have ask a question about price? Because you're saying price is the most item of concern. And I agree and I disagree, because I think quality for me is concern. And sometimes when price is very low, we don't get the quality that we want, and we end up spending more than what we should have from the very beginning by not paying for the quality. So I want to understand that philosophy. I believe there's a statute or something that talks about it, but I want to understand that philosophy because I've struggled with that ever since I've entered. And I think if we do, I don't know what it would look like, but if an audit came about and looked at all the pricing and looking at the quality to see then, are we really paying more in the long run if we're just looking at price? So those are my thoughts and questions.
Absolutely. The definition in and of itself of an invitation for bid is that price is the driving factor. And you're absolutely right. Cheaper goods sometimes mean poor quality. And this has been raised in my meetings with police, for instance, where they are contracting with someone who may have a lower price, but the value of the good or the service doesn't meet expectation. There are certainly procedures that can be put in place to notify that someone has been a poor performer even though they've provided that, although that's usually not the mechanism. And what we've explained is if we have a vendor who's provided poor quality either in service or in the good, then we have to be made aware of that. So when we receive those goods or when we receive the bids from those, then we can identify that this is someone who's had poor performance. But that means that we further develop our vendor performance program. And there's an opportunity there for us to formally document if we've contracted with someone and they've offered poor service, then we need to document that. But oftentimes we may have concerns from staff making a statement that someone has been a poor performer, but we've just got to figure out how we implement a more robust vendor performance process so that that can be taken into consideration when we use the IFB process.
Yes,
But what do you do with the good?
Right, so a little bit more color to this. One thing is we always put the requirements in the IFB. So if the requirements if we need a higher quality, we need to have that communication to our procurement office and make sure that our requirements are stating the quality that we anticipate having for that procurement. So I think that's why it's really important for us to have that two-way communication between the people who are using the goods or the service and our procurement office so we can make those adjustments. And then take that further on the next procurement process. Or even address it with the vendor at the time.
I'll use your example, police, because they buy a lot of goods. and services, and in particular goods. And we want something of high quality to be able to have. My question is, they have to go, and I'll put myself in that situation. If I have to go and write, okay, this is of poor quality, and sit and start to document everything and start to move everything, and then it's another layer of process and another layer of process, I can tell you that I will not do that. So we have to find a way where it's documented, but not where it's cumbersome for the user, because they're not going to do it. There's other pieces on our plate that are just, we'll just complain. and I will just complain. This is a poor quality, I don't know why we did this, and I'll just continue and continue. Now you asked me to write down something, I may write it down, but then I'm now like, well, how do I explain it's poor quality? Cheap plastic, I don't know, inexpensive plastic, it breaks. So we have to think two ways on how we make our process, I guess, easier for the user and easier for those in the procurement area than to identify and say, boom. Now, services is a different thing. Services, I feel like you're then at a certain point, you document, you go and you say, this is poor service. But what if we continue to get poor service? We're still stuck. Or what I mean is we still give a second chance, which I think in second chances, we give a second chance, but in the second chance, it's still poor service. Now you got your user all activated, and now they don't even trust the procurement process. So those are my thoughts, because that's what I hear.
Ma'am, those are valid concerns, and in my experience in implementing a vendor performance process at contract closeout or at major intervals of a contract at a renewal, having that information would allow us, and usually there are contract terms that then state we can put a vendor who is not performing at expectation, on a performance improvement plan, and allow us to withdraw from a contract or terminate a contract if they are not meeting our expectations. So I don't want anyone to ever think that we would be bound to accept less than standards in any of our contracts. There are processes in place for us to address poor vendor performance and poor quality in services. But as Denise indicated, it's a matter of us communicating, and we can certainly look into how we make that easier for our end user. So I can do that.
Do you ever make random calls back to departments and say, is this working out? Is it what you expected? Does it do the job?
Yes, Madam Chair and members of the subcommittee, yes, we do. And we also have what we call a procurement liaison group, where we meet with all the departments on a very frequent basis and check in on contracts. The other thing I'll add too is I'm hearing your concerns, and there's always room for improvement. We are in the process in the city of working on a contract monitoring AR, and so some of these ideas that you're telling us, we'll make sure we build into that administrative regulation in the future.
Thank you.
I think Betty has a question.
Oh, Vice Mayor, do you have a question?
Yeah, I had a couple. So I had a couple of questions. How many local vendors do we have as part of this list?
Well, you've puzzled them. You got to wait a minute for your answer.
Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, I'll have to look and see what the actual number of small vendors we have registered in the system is. I do know that we have 85 contracts, but I'll have to get back to you on the actual number of small vendors that we have registered.
And then also, how many vendors locally have we added in the last year, or do we have a plan on adding in more local vendors? I know that things have changed in the city since 2015. We've gotten a lot bigger. We've have more people coming in doing business in the city of Phoenix. because I keep hearing 2015, 2015. So I'd like to know, what's our plan to outreach to locals that want to do business with the city, and how many of those do we how many do we have? I guess we'll get an answer for that. But then, I want to know, like, what's our plan to outreach to all of these different vendors that do want to do business with the city?
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, and Vice Mayor, those are very good questions. We are working on putting together some more specifics on our small local business program, and we will be presenting that information to, which subcommittee are we going to? The Workforce Enhancement Subcommittee. So we'll make sure we get all that information into information and get it to your office. I will tell you that we do work with Local First, and we do have 2 small business enterprise programs planned for the months of March and April. And so we'll give you more specific information on those events.
Great, thank you.
Vice Mayor, this is TJ Martin. To further answer your question, we're currently working with the EOD as well as CED, and as Denise indicated, on March 12th, we'll be participating in a program with ADOT to make the community aware of small opportunities. And then again on April 30th, we have a planned program at Barton Burr Library with Local First Arizona, making those opportunities with the city available to small business. But it is a targeted event. The EOD is responsible for registering small businesses. And if I'm not mistaken, in the materials that they've shared with me as we go out to talk about what this process will look like moving forward, I understand they have registered close to 1,300 small business enterprises. I'm not sure what the time frame for that registration, but I do recall seeing that number in information shared with me as we look at this process.
Can I have
Thank you.
ask a question regarding that? That is at Burton Bar, which is centrally located. Have we had one on the west side, in particular, in the Maryvale, Levine, where it captures all those small businesses? And then my second question is, language may be a barrier, so is one in Spanish?
Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, we would love to do those kinds of activities, and we'd be more than willing to work with you on that. We would love to do more outreach, especially anywhere we can go, we'll be there to encourage more, so we can work with anybody on that in the council.
Okay, thank you.
Just a thought. And following up on that, do you work with the chambers, local chambers?
Arizona First, local Arizona First, works with the chambers as well as other affinity groups to share the information about these opportunities. And it is definitely a goal for the Central Procurement Division to travel and to ensure that those who require representation or different assistance with understanding in other languages will be available, services will be available.
Okay, I just say that because I know we have the big Phoenix Chamber, but there are smaller, local, like North Phoenix. There's also Scottsdale Chamber, and believe it or not, part of my district is addressed to Scottsdale, so some of those businesses, in Glendale, yeah, some of those businesses actually belong to the Scottsdale Chamber. So hopefully we're reaching out to those small.
And we will do so. Okay. Thank you for pointing it out. We will definitely implement those things for you. So I believe I left off in talking about a request for proposal, which is this is the most common method of procurement. And here, this process is used for more difficult procurements, more complex procurements, and where stated criteria are identified by the end user or the departments of what's most important. I think we just heard from Transit where price was only 20% and they'd identify other factors that were more important or had been given more weight. So this is a process used, and as you can see, it was used for the new transit system. The financial reporting software used by the finance department is also. So we'll see this one more often in difficult procurements. Qualified vendor lists, where we're looking for individuals who have specific licenses or experience to provide a particular service. So we'll see this often with someone who's a certified auditor, maybe an architect or something, a profession that would require some license or expertise. We will utilize the request for qualification and often seek out more than one qualified person so that we have a list of those individuals providing that service. Cooperatives. I'll turn back over to Denise.
Thank you. So there's also some specific questions about cooperatives. Just to give you an overview of what this is, it's basically when we combine the purchasing power of many public procurement agencies. It's widely used by states, municipalities, school districts, universities. It's endorsed by the American Bar Association. It's also endorsed by the federal government. The main benefits of a cooperative are really price reductions because you're buying in bulk. And then the other thing is it increases efficiency. So really it's a time saver. So we maximize our resources. Some examples of cooperatives, most recently we have the U.S. mayors who've endorsed a contract for electric fleet purchases. We also purchase our ambulances through cooperatives. Small business WIST was done through a cooperative recently, and then we also have the two-way radios. Just to put this in perspective, we talked about all these different sourcing methods, and this shows you basically how long it takes for us to do these various methods. And so as you can see, cooperatives are a time saver for us. There was also some specific questions about state cooperatives. And what we want to point out here is the state cooperatives that we used, we make sure that they follow all of our rules. So the state cooperatives have to comply with our procurement code, and that is reviewed by the law department. And they're also very efficient at doing these cooperatives. They have about 900 contracts that are available for us to use. This shows you an example of the number of hours that they used. It took them to put together the mailing equipment, supplies, and maintenance. You can see it took about 242 hours in fiscal year 18, 265 hours in fiscal year 19. These are hours that we save by using the cooperative. Again, that's just the advantage of using these. Now, we don't use cooperatives all the time. This gives you a perspective of how many cooperatives we have in terms of our total contracts, and then this gives you how much we are actually spending on our cooperative contracts. And so one thing that we do is, as I said, we have a procurement planning process, and so when we get all of the procurement plan, we have all the items that we need to do over the next 2 years. We'll go through a process where we see if there's any procurements we can combine. Then we'll look at the different things to see if there's very specific procurements that really need to be catered to the city of Phoenix only. It's not something that's a generic type of a contract, but it's something that's just for specifically for the city of Phoenix. And with those, we'll sign things like a RFP, which TJ talked about, to make it specific to the city of Phoenix. And then once we get all of this sorted out, one tool that we'll use is a cooperative, and then we'll match resources with the types of procurements and figure out how we're going to get the work done over the next 2 years. And so that's the process we go through every single year. And so overall, what we're doing is we're trying to be strategic in our procurements. We want to promote competition. We would like to save time, spend wisely, and then at the end of the day, give the departments what they need to perform their functions. And that will answer any more questions.
I have a question about the cooperative. And I understand that it saves time, but what I'm hearing in the community regarding the cooperatives is that we go to the cooperatives so that then we can avoid doing the work of an RFP and really gathering the way I'm repeating what is being said, okay? What we're doing in the cooperatives is that we hide behind the cooperatives so that we don't do an RFP. One in particular that just recently went through was a lot of questions were asked about, a lot of things were asked about, and what the purchasing items were. And in the discovery, or I don't know, in the discovery of the purchasing of the item, there was certain stuff that was being purchased that should have really gone out, or in the future go out to an RFP. So my question is, or what I would like to see is I would like to see in these briefings or these packets, the breakout of where we're spending our money. So when a $3 million contract comes about, I would like to know where it's going and where it's being allocated to. For example, I'll use fire. Fire has equipment all the time. We need new tires for fire. We chose, and this is what it's going to cost. This is the other piece we're purchasing. Boom, boom, boom. This is why we chose this company. I don't know if that's cumbersome. I would like feedback, but so that I don't get the calls and say, wait a minute, go back and ask these questions, go look for this, something's wrong with this, da-da-da-da. I'd rather just be transparent, upfront, here it is, this is what we're doing. So I don't know if that's possible. I guess that's the question.
So, Madam Chair, Councilman Pastor, let me make sure I understand this right. So are you asking us for more detail on what we're actually spending on each of the cooperative contracts?
I'm just asking, it's not just cooperative, I'm asking in general.
In general.
For a breakdown of what we're purchasing. So when I'm voting on a $3 million contract, I know where it's going.
Okay.
Or
So
any
for
contract,
each-
or any contract,
Okay.
but I'm just thinking one that we just passed and always question and question and question. And so I think for transparency purposes, and it could be general, I mean, it could be, I don't know, tires, but I don't know why I think of tires, but extinguishers, and extinguishers, we're purchasing a bulk of extinguishers, this is the cost. That's just, and I don't know if I'm off, so Denise, you could probably help me with this.
Do you want the price and which method they used?
No. Which method they used.
I mean, did they do an RFP? Was it a sole source? Did they use?
I guess that would be
cooperative?
good for the public to understand what method you used.
So, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, so we actually do put that information in the Legistar files, but maybe what I could do is maybe we could write some templates up and maybe run it through and see if we're hitting the information that you're requesting.
So if you already do it, does the public know where to go look?
So in the council packets, like in the formal council packet
Okay.
today, you can see what type of procurement we did. We will say that in the Legistar file. Now, we probably need to have some more conversation about whether we're actually getting all the pricing information that you're requesting in that Legistar file. And we can have some further conversation on that. But typically what we do is we list in the summary section everything that contract entails, and then we have a total amount for the contract for the
Right.
5-year period. So maybe what we can do is come up with some more templates and kind of see where we can improve those Legistar files.
So what I'm asking for, yes, that's a big general piece. I'm
Correct.
now asking for detail.
Okay?
So if I'm purchasing a fire engine, or with this money, we anticipate, you can use the term anticipate because you need flexibility, we anticipate to purchase 5 fire trucks. And then, or what, however, or you don't even have to tell me how many, just a very general what is being purchased. Now, if you're telling me that it's already there, then I just need to know where it's at, so then I can direct people to say this is what they're going to purchase with the money. I have a very a constituent that's retired and writes me every week, goes through this packet and starts to tear the packet, and then I turn around and I'm looking for the answer. So if it's there and it's public, then I can just say, go to this link, and it should tell you on today's agenda, on such and such page, this is what's going to be purchased. And then that saves me time, saves you time, and I have answered the question.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Vice Mayor, do you have any questions?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate the information and look forward to your return trip. All right, this brings us to 12.
Item 12, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee. There was a recent tragic accident which prompted the Vice Mayor Guardado to request that there be a discussion at the subcommittee about what we can do to improve safety for one-way streets and prevent wrong-way driving. And so Street Transportation Director Keeney Knutson, along with Brianna Velez, Assistant Director, are here to discuss some of the things that they're looking at doing.
Okay, we'll have the presentation, then we have a card. So.
Thank you, Mario. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee. I also wanted to thank Vice Mayor Guardado for bringing this to our attention and asking us to look into it further. I'm going to let Brianna take through the balance of the presentation, but I just wanted to, as an introduction, kind of give you an overall snapshot. We're always appreciative of having the opportunity to be able to look at safety issues on our roadways and having the opportunity to be able to evaluate is everything we're doing out there everything we could do. And I think we did some evaluation. We've got some data that we're going to go over in the presentation. But I think what's kind of more important is to know that what we have out there today does meet national standards for signage and striping, but it doesn't mean we can't do better. And so we've got a proposal that Brianna's going to lay out where we can do some pilot work to try to improve signage and striping to address wrong-way driving. So I'm going to let Brianna take it through.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee. Phoenix roadways safely move large volumes of vehicles every single day, and with moving large volumes of vehicles comes collisions. And so when we look at collision data, majority of what we're seeing is as a result of driver behavior such as speeding, inattention, and impairment. But specifically today, we're going to be talking about wrong-way collisions on Washington and Jefferson Street between 7th Avenue and 7th Street. And so when we look at the 5-year data that we have, 2014 through 2018, 508 collisions have occurred within these corridors. 12 out of those 508 were related to wrong-way driving. That equates to approximately a little bit over 2%. Of all of these 12 collisions, 0 were fatalities or serious injuries. Although the 2019 collision data has not been finalized, we were able to secure information from the PD database. And in there, we saw that this year in 2019, there have been 3 wrong-way driving collisions, with 1 resulting in a fatality, the other 2 with no injury. The wrong-way collision occurred on December 22nd at Washington and 1st Avenue. And as a result, staff was asked to take a look specifically at Washington and Jefferson between 7th Avenue and 7th Street, to see what potential improvements could be implemented to reduce wrong-way collisions. So staff initially evaluated the existing one-way signage at every intersection along these corridors and determined that it was appropriate and in line with national standards. And as you can see here, the one-way markings are installed, the signage at the intersections of the one-way road. However, as Keeney mentioned, I think there's still more that our department could do to ensure that people are aware of where our one-way roads are. And so we're recommending a pilot project on Washington and Jefferson Street between 7th Avenue and 7th Street. The first recommendation is to add directional pavement arrows. And so these would be added at every intersection and would very clearly mark for somebody who may be turning on that they would see these arrows and know that they were going the wrong way. They would be installed prior to the crosswalk and at every lane. In addition to the pavement arrows, we are also recommending adding wrong-way signs past the traffic signals so that people could clearly see that they're going the wrong way if they continued past the intersection. So the recommended pilot project would install the wrong-way signs, which is approximately 45 within the corridor, install directional pavement markings, which is approximately 130 arrows. This would all cost approximately $32,000 for the fabrication and installation. The project would take about 4 to 6 months to complete all of the additional signage and marking. So the intent would be hopefully to reduce wrong-way collisions by making it very clear to drivers, particularly those that don't frequent downtown, that these corridors are one-way streets. And so the intent would be to evaluate the improvements annually to see if we are seeing a reduction in wrong-way collisions. And as we evaluate this annually, if we are seeing a reduction, we would propose adding these improved marking and signing requirements to additional one-way streets. And with that, we'll take any questions you may have.
Questions? Vice Mayor?
I want to hear the card. Is there someone here to speak?
Yes, there is.
I'll do comments after she speaks, or he speaks.
Okay, Chanel?
I didn't see that picture. I want to thank our Chairwoman Williams and Vice Mayor Guerrero for looking into this. Members of council, thank you. My name is Chanel Poe. I'm a member of the community, and December's wrong-way driving fatality hit the community hard. Although we are still unaware of what led our beloved Tamika Spence down a wrong-way street on Washington, the fact of the matter is that she went undetected. This is not the first time that this has happened in this corridor, particularly at First Avenue in East Washington. Wrong-way driving is both an epidemic nationally and within the city of Phoenix that results in 50% fatalities. The majority of wrong-way drivers in the city of Phoenix are not familiar with the area. It's not impairment. As we continue to grow with all this new growth and development, our city needs to be adequately aware and promote education and awareness to tourists and to residents that could be confused. The sense of urgency is now. I would personally like to thank Vice Mayor Guerrero, who jumped on this. I did send an email to each council member, and I also want to thank Michael Angelou, who had assisted us through this process. In addition, constant communication that I've had with Andrew Wonder, and I want to thank your office, Councilwoman Pastor, because they also immediately reached out with some potential solutions. In the email, I did research before coming before the council to make sure that there were other pilot programs that were being done. I just ask that you create synergy with the county and the state as well. I know the state has a pilot program that they use for the freeways. In terms of the presentation today, I just really want to thank you and your staff. I also want to be sure to thank Laura Farrell, who has also been in communication and contact. I also want to thank Sasha Perez, who has always been someone in transportation that's been very helpful. I am very, very pleased, and I wholeheartedly support this recommendation by streets that we implement so that we can really step in front of any other wrong way driving incidents and really promote education and direction for our residents and for our tourists. Thank you.
Thank you very much and for being here and for bringing this to our attention. I know it's tricky because I don't drive around downtown beyond just a route particularly, but with all the new construction, the light rail going in downtown, when I got off my beaten track, I couldn't figure out how to get back here for a little while. There were one-way streets, all going the wrong way. So I'm glad to see that we're going to have a pilot program and pursue this. So.
Madam Chair and members of the subcommittee, and I wanted to thank Ms. Poe for bringing this to our attention as well. I think there's a couple things that we're obviously doing with this and looking at one ways, but we appreciate, and the next presentation that we're going to have as well is going to be talking about some of the growth that's happening downtown, the new residents, the visitors, and how we work with them to better communicate. But as the council knows as well, we are working on converting some of those one-way streets to two-way streets as well, where we have the opportunity to be able to do so, which can help reduce some of that confusion as well to people who may not be familiar with the downtown area.
I hope we're going to put it on our webpage so people can see it. Dee Dee, did you want to come up and speak?
Thank you, transportation staff. Yeah, I need to get kick-started here. Okay. I am very sorry about the fatality, of this young woman. And sometimes, unfortunately, it takes that to really see that we need to step up the process of controlling the traffic that's downtown. I fully agree with you, Councilwoman Williams, is that having lived downtown, I've never seen, what do we have, 13 cranes up? We have the roads that are blocked in so many different ways that we're used to. So this is very imperative. Washington is something that I unfortunately experienced back in 2010, appropriately being in at First Street in Washington and being hit, and it's not fun. The city knows about it, and I feel that we'll come full circle on that incident. But in closing, I would like to say that I hope that more people will be encouraged to walk and that we'll be able to control the cars. I think that if you look at the speed limit, it's too fast going on, if you look way, way back from, say, 16th Street on Washington and the way that the cars go, because I know that in that incident, the driver that hit me wanted to come and pick me up. First of all, nobody's picking me up once you get hit, okay? And the cars were coming at me, so that is very scary. We need to slow this down. And then on 3rd Avenue, right by the Puppet Theater, during a home tour, I had to direct traffic, and I had a wrong-way driver coming up towards my back. There is a sign there that's by Hance Park that shows you go one way, but I think you need to alert the drivers coming off of the 202 earlier. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman?
Thank you. I'm very excited about this pilot project, but as you know, I'm very concerned about the entire city and speeding, pedestrian deaths, like being hit by cars. So I hope we can have a greater dialogue about what we're doing. And I know it's not just your department. I know the police are involved. It's just every day we get a text from our commander about some fatality that's related to speeding. And I just think we've got to have that dialogue and think of ways. I know Councilwoman Pastor mentioned to me that MAG was looking at a comprehensive plan, and maybe it's time we start talking about that. And I don't remember what it was called. You told me.
I can't remember. Well, I'll get it to you, but.
Okay.
So we're not on adding agenda items, but I would like to start the dialogue of a comprehensive plan.
Part of that is already going through public safety.
But, okay, but I would like for it,
Not that I can't come
yeah,
here.
yeah, I would like
I'm
for it
just
to come
saying, I
here.
know
Yeah,
it-
yeah.
there's
A lot of it is police enforcement.
Yeah,
I
a lot of
understand.
us.
But, and I think, is it police enforcement or that's going through public safety? I would like to look at how we're moving everybody from a high level and looking down and see where everything's going and how we're moving our traffic. Because we are changing all the traffic patterns, not only in downtown, it now affects the 7s, affects the 3rds and the 5ths, that then it's all coming up, moving north. And with all the construction happening in the core, I don't know how that traffic is gonna be moving, because there's gonna be a lot of gridlock at a certain point.
At some point.
Well, I mean, with all the multifamily that's happening on the 3rds and the 5ths, getting out, and then we're changing some of them to one-way streets, two lanes, yeah. We're going down from 4 lanes to 2 lanes, and
Yeah.
I think we really need to look at a comprehensive plan. And if it has to come out of this committee, at least it comes out of this committee and we're working on it. So that's,
You're just saying north and south. I'm also very concerned about
I'm
east
saying
and west.
everywhere, yes. I'm
Because
saying
our
everywhere.
sister cities are all really growing, and every route goes through Phoenix.
Yeah.
And where we've never had traffic, Bell used to be the most northern, and, it's a raceway, we all know that.
Greenway.
But now Greenway, that Happy Valley. Deer Valley, and we're having more and more accidents all the time, and further it goes north. So I agree, I think it's time to see if there wasn't something we could come up with, and even if we had to stage it, so that we had to kind of train people, and so that they look forward and work with our sister cities, so that when they come flying out of Peoria, headed for Scottsdale, they have to slow down in Phoenix. So,
Councilwoman.
Oh,
go ahead.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, I was at a meeting with the supermoms out in the West Side, and they gave a very thorough presentation on how many fatalities we've had in the city in the last, I want to say like in the last year, and it was a little devastating to see those numbers. And I know that we're going to have them come in the next week or so to the Public Safety Subcommittee to give that presentation, because it's true. We need to figure out a solution to this. And I can definitely share that presentation that they did with me at their meeting with everyone's office, so everyone can look at it. But with that, I would also like to take a moment to thank Ms. Chano Poe for reaching out to our office in this important issue. Ms. Poe is a champion for the Phoenix community and serves as the governing board president in the Balas School District. We are very appreciative of her advocacy on this topic, on safe streets, and many other important community issues. I want to thank her so much for coming out, Chana. I know that it's not easy coming up and talking to us about this issue, but definitely want to work with everyone else to figure out how do we deal with this issue that keeps growing every day in our city. Thank you so much.
No, and I thank you too for your courage, but it's not just about wrong way. It's about what's happening in our city with regards to speeding. And I think your point of education is well spoken. I think we need to do a better job, and maybe as we go through our budget process, we can look at some monies to improve education. We are in the budget process now, so I appreciate your comments.
Mario, I think to bring this committee up to date, you could probably go to public safety or wherever did that other presentation that she just mentioned, and just have them come here and give it to us so we have some idea and communication on where the city's headed, and So we have a little input, to be right truthful.
Madam Chair, we will look at an opportunity to do that, to bring that here to this subcommittee so that you can have that full discussion on a comprehensive
Yeah.
overview of this, of safety on our roads.
Right, because if any other department's doing something or planning something, it would be good for all of us to have the knowledge, so thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate your hard work and look forward. I know you will be doing this fairly soon, so. It brings us to downtown plan update.
So, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, happy to be here for you, in front of you today to talk a little bit more about this project that we've been working on for a little more than a year, which is a transportation plan, downtown transportation plan update. I'm joined up here by Eric Froberg, our city engineer, but he is also responsible for our development coordination team as well. So he's going to be taking you through the majority of the presentation. But how we define downtown area: 7th Avenue to 7th Street, Tonto on the south to I-10 in the north, when we're talking about the scope of this plan. The last time we had this plan actually adopted by the City of Phoenix the City Council was in 2014, and we're doing an update to that plan. And you may ask, why would you want to do an update to a plan that's 6 years old? Because I'm sure nothing has changed, right?
Yeah.
So the next slide is going to kind of get into that, why it's necessary. So looking at the forecasted growth, we're 5 years into our 10-year forecasted growth here. And what we see in that 10-year horizon all the way through 2025 is a 66% population increase within that downtown area I just mentioned. Along with that, you're seeing about a 13% employment increase in that same area. That's why all those cranes that Ms. Barker stole my thunder about, talking about all the cranes that are in downtown. And then that's going to ultimately increase the number of trips that are seen, both through for commuters, both for people who are living and working in downtown, for 25,000 daily trips increase. And then getting to the real factor here is you can see what's happened and changed in downtown. These are the active projects going on right now in downtown, or planned projects. There's 50 plus of them. So they are changing literally, as Councilwoman Pastor pointed out earlier, changing how the transportation patterns happen in downtown, and we're trying to keep on top of that and ahead of that by doing this plan update. And so I'm going to turn it over to Eric to take us through the rest of the presentation, but obviously, hopefully you understand the reason why we're doing this update and going forward.
Thank you, Kenny. Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, thank you for having me here today. As Kenny mentioned, this is an update to a plan, and this update, the Downtown Transportation Plan, started in April of 2018 with really the question is, can the street network really support this type of growth that Kenny had talked about? So some of the activities that we had completed is we wanted to get information from the neighborhood and from the surrounding area. So we knew all the data that we had forecasted, but we really wanted to know from their perspectives, what types of concerns do they have. So in summer of 2019, we did conduct 3 neighborhood meetings. Over 70 people attended the various meetings and provided input to us that we then incorporated in an attempt to develop future transportation plans that were then focused on not only the traffic side of it, but also the public meeting comments that we received. At those meetings, there were over 400 comments received. The comments, while extensive, could be focused into 3 main areas. Obviously, auto safety and congestion was a big part of it, the actual vehicles. But something else that we actually heard a lot about was pedestrian and bicycle safety and how we can be more multimodal. And then the last one is related to transit, light rail, and how light rail and bus transit would impact this downtown core. So from that, we looked at 3 different scenarios that were slightly different from originally. The plan was very vehicle heavy, and how does traffic work? And so what we ended up doing was incorporating these different items factors into 3 different scenarios. One, the baseline, just what does it look like with the traffic that's currently there that Kenny had provided all the data on. The second scenario is we basically cranked the model up, and we applied a lot of pressure to those various corridors and said, okay, what if the development doesn't exactly follow like we thought? What would happen to the various corridors? Where are we most vulnerable to having worse congestion or overcapacity roadways? And then to deal with the or to address the public comments is, then once we know where we have some capacity problems or areas for improvement, we'll call them, where could we provide opportunity corridors for the multimodal corridors? Where could bike lanes be added? Where could hawk signals be to allow pedestrians to cross the road? So from these three different scenarios, we felt like we've covered it from a few different angles. So the next steps is to review. We currently have the draft study. Various departments are reviewing it, street transportation, city engineer's office, my development coordination team is looking at it. We will provide comments back to the consultant to address some of the concerns that we have. Outreach, which is we will then have a second round of public comments, go back out to the public and let them know this is what we found, this is the direction that we're going. The next one would be modeling. One thing that we haven't talked about because we hadn't really got the model into place where we could address special events. And we do recognize that downtown has a lot of special events and traffic becomes exceptionally challenging during those, whether they're Suns or Diamondbacks, concerts, those types of things. So once we get the model, the everyday model situated, then we can apply some special event modeling to it, and then we can then engage the Sunburst stakeholders and make sure that we're having open dialogue with them about how not only just this plan, but how development downtown potentially changes the Sunburst plan, and making sure that we're working with them to accommodate that as we're going through. Once we have that, we can then program the improvements that come out of the study, and that's either through the city's CIP or working with my development coordination team as development's coming in and making sure that if we know that there are improvements that the plan has for a certain roadway that a development is adjacent to, we can then work with the developers to help us install those improvements at the same time. And then finally, we will then finalize the plan and then come back to this subcommittee to share with you what these final recommendations are. We're thinking summer of this year, we should have this all wrapped up to be able then to come back and provide you guys with the final recommendations. And with that, I will turn it over to questions.
Just wanted one point of clarification, and I know Eric just talked about the Sunburst Plan. The Sunburst Plan, for those who may not know a lot about, it's been in place for a number of years. It's the plan to get people into and out of the downtown area during special events. So with the amount of traffic increase and the development increase, how that Sunburst Plan operates may be different in the future. So we want to make sure we have those changes identified, as well as the stakeholders who are involved in that. We need outreach with them as well.
So are you going to, in looking at the plan, are you going to look at things like scrambles? You know, I think we probably need them in the downtown area now. I know years ago we tried it, but we just didn't have the population. We didn't have the pedestrians. But would you look at areas that we might be able to maximize the sidewalk, maybe construct larger sidewalks? And are you going to look at dedicated, separated bike lanes? I mean, what are some of the things you're going to look at? Just
Madam Chair, Councilwoman Stark, I think a couple things first on when it comes to some of the things we've talked about before, the scrambles and pedestrian-oriented things that we can do. We actually have potentially some good news I want to share with you. I'll do that offline about related to that. Might happen sooner than we thought. But I did want to talk about the sidewalks, and that goes back to what Eric said. So there'll be a combination of where we can look at CIP projects, capital improvement projects for the city, and also things that are already in the downtown code related development will require some of those enhanced pedestrian amenities and wider sidewalks, and those things like that are already in the requirements for development downtown. So as far as dedicated bike lanes, I think it goes back to making sure the capacity of the roadway network can handle what's going on down here, and then look at those opportunities where we can bring in the multimodal aspect in it. And I think we don't want to take anything off the table when it comes to keeping bicyclists and pedestrians safe. That includes protection, buffering wherever we can of those bike lanes.
Great, thank you.
Will this also look at the global impact it's having on festivals downtown and our races downtown? We are losing revenue because of all the changes that are happening. And they are just choosing now, as I have spoken to several groups, they are just choosing to stay in other cities that offer a better, I guess, path.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know where this goes. I don't know if it goes here, procurement, or police. But I want to relook at our barricade plan. And the cost of it and how we charge for these items or for these for these festivals and run races. I'm hearing more and more I don't know what term to use. I don't want to use a negative term. More and more situations where they just don't want to come. And that we had them for a long time. And so I know people are working on this, but some of the pathways that I looked at, I don't think are conducive. So I would really like to look at that in a large scope.
Madam Chair, Councilwoman Pastor, we definitely hear you on that, and that's something we obviously, our team on the right-of-way side, when they're looking at restrictions and closures, they're balancing what's going on, obviously, with the development activity downtown. But then there's some other, obviously, big major infrastructure improvements like light rail that will impact some of those things as well. So I think those are things that we're looking at how those impact our ability to host special events in downtown. And so I think that's a great point. Something we're aware of, but I think that's something we have to have a better conversation with the council as well. And then going forward, how these special events and festivals, you know, how we work with them on their requirements to make sure they're safe for the traveling public and for the folks who are participating. That's always an interesting discussion, but it's something we always want to have early enough with those organizers to make sure we have plenty of time to coordinate, so there aren't any surprises at last minute. That can be the worst, is trying to figure out how to make something happen with 24, 48 hours advance notice to us. So.
Got it.
Do you have anything? Vice Mayor, do you have any questions?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
As you're doing that, Keely, can you look out, think outside the box? Maybe it doesn't have to be downtown. It could be moved a little outside of that area. And that keeps them in Phoenix.
Yeah, I just think, yes, I agree. But I think with the changing of 3rd Street,
Yeah.
where we host a lot of festivals to go down to Indian School, I mean, I think there's, yes.
Yeah.
Because it's outside the downtown core, but we use that intersection a lot, so.
Anyway, I thank you very much. Look forward to you coming back in June. Is that what you promised? Okay, summer. Thank you.
Well, summer's like 6 months, so.
We're being super committal.
Do we have any future items?
Yeah, you
We've
got.
taken
Other than
you on
lists
that.
we've already
You
given you
discussed,
this
yes.
morning?
You already got it.
Okay. Any public? Then we're adjourned. Thank you.